You are listening to the BlahCade Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me, as always, from over there, Jared Morgan.
I'm over here. Yeah, it's hello. Hello.
I'm over here waving
It's
my
rainy,
hands.
rainy. It is very rainy here today. We've got, apparently, according to Google Weather, we've got 4 days of rain coming up. So that's sort of weird for winter. Normally winters are usually dry.
Okay.
But yeah, we got rain. And of course it would rain because yesterday I put a load of washing out on the sideline and I thought, no, I was looking up at the sky going, yeah, it does look a little bit sort of cloudy, but that's okay. It'll be fine over in the sideline here because it's sheltered. And have a guess which direction the rain came in yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, right onto the clothes direction. Thanks.
Yeah, that falls into the if
Nature.
you want it to rain, wash your car or don't bring your umbrella. And if you want it to
or
be...
wool your garden.
You're right. Or if you want it to be exceedingly boiling hot, like the hottest day on the planet, schedule work in your attic.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Go and retile your roof.
Right.
Because
that's
it'll be 40 degrees Celsius, or like 100 in Fahrenheit.
When our one neighbor that he's since moved, but he lived across the street from us, you could predict the weather based off of what he was doing. Because inevitably, and you're right, it would be, working on the roof. How long is that going to take? 2 weeks? Yep, sure enough, that's the hottest 2 weeks, of that month.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
you're setting tile. Oh, look at that, it's raining. As he's doing it outside where he needs it to be dry.
Yep. Yeah, and you just look up and you go, "Damn you!" As you look up into the sky. Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about this because I teased it last week and my wife didn't want to hear it. So to my wife, plug your ears. Let's talk spiders here.
Spiders. See,
Spiders.
Being an Australian, I am an expert on the spiders. All Australians are. You go and ask anyone, and they'll say, "Yeah, we know about spiders." Yeah, because they'll kill you.
Right. So I read this interesting statistic that basically said that spiders eat anywhere from 400 to 800 tons of insect matter, basically, or what you will say, flesh, meat. Okay? Meat. There is only 400 million tons of humans on the planet, which means that in a year, spiders could eat all of us and still be hungry.
Wow. That's the stuff of horror, really, isn't it?
Now, the interesting
all
thing
we really need now is supersized spiders.
Right.
Basically, is what we need now.
The interesting thing I find about this, less about the fact that they could consume us and still be hungry, but the fact that there are that many insects that they are consuming each year. It's like, can you imagine if we didn't have spiders? Oh my God, we'd just
how many insects?
Oh my God, we'd be awash in them. It'd be insane.
Plagues,
right?
Plagues of insects everywhere. Like you see them in your house. We're not particularly fastidious when it comes to little house spiders that we see crawling around the wall. And you look up into the cornice in your roof, and you see these little dots up there. And you go, yeah, they're all spiders up there. You go, just look at all the bugs that they must be eating, and you can tell they're eating because you see little spider droppings everywhere, little black specks. And you go, you must be like plowing through a fair bit of spiders. The other thing we have over here is geckos, and the geckos.
Do they bother you?
Like to geckos? No, the geckos are fine. Well, let me first describe geckos, just in case they're different in America. So geckos are these sort of translucent sort of lizards, basically, that have really grippy suction pads on their feet. Actually, they're little, very fine hairs, actually. That allow them to climb up walls and do all that sort of funky stuff. And they like to eat bugs and moths and stuff like that. And they make this really loud sort of chirping noise.
Oh, I didn't know about the
scares
chirping.
It scares the living bejeebers out of you, particularly when they're in the room with you and you don't know they're there. All of a sudden, it's like this beep, 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 beep noise. And it's
great.
Oh, crap. Yeah. So... Anyhow, they're great. They keep the bug count down as well. They also eat spiders. They don't really care. They're like the honey badgers of the I like to eat bugs world. But yeah, getting back to spiders, that's a lot of bugs.
Yeah, just a few, and that's yearly. That's what I'm saying. That's yearly.
This is the thing, though. That bugs, when they reproduce, they produce hundreds. So for every bug, they make lots more.
Right.
So I guess it's like a smorgasbord of food available anyhow. So it's like the spiders basically, even though that sounds like a colossal number, spiders could never keep up with the amount of bugs that are out there. That's the thing. So really, they're going, oh, I'm so overworked, trying to keep the bug count down. Every day, eating bugs and more appear. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
I guess hooray for spiders.
Good on you, spiders. Yep.
Except for the ones that cause flesh-eating bacteria. We don't like those.
I don't think I've heard of any of those in Australia, which is surprising because we have some good spiders down here.
Yeah, you don't have the brown recluse?
No.
Oh yeah, that's a good time spider.
And we don't have tarantulas, but I think we have a family member of the tarantula family down here.
You don't have tarantulas because you just have the bird-killing spider that's the size of a tarantula.
Yeah, those ones are good. I haven't actually seen one of those, but I was at a science fair recently in our state museum, and there was this spider exhibit, and somebody was just handling a spider, just letting it crawl over themselves. And showing people what it looked like. It was very placid. Like you could tell that when people freak out about getting a spider on them, it's unwarranted because spiders really don't care about you unless you're pissing them off, basically. Because this spider was happily just crawling over hands, and like the person was just letting it crawl over this hand, and then it would just crawl over that, and they just like pass it around, let it crawl up the arm, and then pick it up, and it was happy. It was fun. It's like a garden orb or something like that. One of those really big, scary-looking spiders that really are placid as anything. So, yeah, they were having fun with spiders.
All right, enough of spiders. Yeah. Who wants to talk about those anymore? I played in our tournament last week, I should say. And the guy's house we went over to, he had a whole slew of old-timey EMs. And I'll just give you the list of games that we played for the tournament. And you can kind of tell the age of everything that we were playing. So we had Black Hole, which everybody was commenting about. Hey, it's a great design. It had this really cool area that you want to shoot and ball into, and then if you drain, you die.
Classic 80s pen.
Yeah. We had Williams Time Zone, which is an EM. And then F-14 Tomcat, a table called Tucson, and which is again an EM. Road Kings, which I believe is a System 11 high speed. Another very ancient EM, which is called Pro Football. And then Royal Flush, which is a more modern. It's basically the same. Almost. No, I shouldn't say it's the same thing. It very much reminded me of what's the one that we just got in last season in Pinball Arcade?
Paragon.
The Gottlieb. That was also a card themed. Jack's Open or something like that.
Oh, yeah, Jack's Open. Yeah.
Virtually the same play field, just like. Instead of the bank of cards or drop targets being straight across the top, it was on an angle.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not really too much you can do with a street level playfield. Really, it's only certain configurations that will actually work when you're actually designing them.
Terminator 2, Spanish Eyes, which was another old EM, and then the oldest of the batch, which was a wood rail called Kickoff.
Oh. Wow, a wood rail.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
tell us more about that.
What I learned from playing these is there's different classes of EM.
All right.
So you take an EM like Royal Flush, which was just on the verge of almost us getting to solid state pin. So your flippers are the size you're used to. There's flipper return lanes. Goals are fairly understandable in terms of you kind of know what the object of the table is relatively easily, and it just looks like a standard pin for the most part, just lacking all the, well, it has plenty of bells, but all the whistles.
Yeah.
Then you go into a table like Spanish Eyes. The Spanish Eyes is weird because it has a pop bumper right at the drain hole, and the two flippers
they will pop it back in.
Well, okay, so it's got a pop bumper and then kind of a U-shaped border around the pop bumper, with the bottom of the U being the hole that goes to the center drain. So what happens is if your ball goes into that area, it's going to bounce around like crazy, and it's very possible that it can bounce right back out and you can continue playing. But more often than not, it bounces it into the center drain and then it's toast. And then the two flippers are your little short 2-inch. I always want to call them zipper flippers, even though they're not a zipper, but it's that size flipper, and they're on the outsides of the.
It's the flippers that actually have the word flipper written on them.
Exactly. Yes. Because back then you didn't know what those things were. Anyway, so right. and that table is one of those that there's also then this big horseshoe dead center, and I call those the EMs, where they're difficult because of the size of the flipper, and also because they have these weird playfield mechanics that you're just not quite sure what's going on. But again, you relatively understand, keep the ball alive, and try and get it to the upper playfield, which is always, to me, the main task of any EM. Then you move on to something like pro football. Pro football is... This is when you're, what do they call it, the leather-capped football helmets. We're talking American football here, but right. they didn't have hard helmets back then. It was the leather, kind of thing. And I had no clue what to do on this thing. It kept two different scores. It had both a touchdown score, essentially, and a typical pinball score. It had what they called red side and blue side, and you were scoring for those teams. And if you lit, and those were lit at the top of the playfield, there was two in lanes. One was red, one was blue. Whatever lane you got it in, that lit. And the object was to get both of them lit, because then that multiplied the scores even higher for whatever you bounced off against. But there was also this thing of advancing the football across the they had a football field, and it would light, and there was these very targets that you were supposed to kind of like push back by repeatedly hitting them, and then eventually they'd drop. But everything that you did pretty much resulted in the ball wanting to go straight down the middle.
Right.
And
that's
it was one of those things where I, for the life of us, none of us could figure out what the heck we were supposed to be shooting at. It was just try and make it hit anything and score points somehow, but God knows how. It was really, really kind of a head scratcher. And then
bring it up now. To see what it actually looks like, if I'm looking at the right thing. It's a Godly Pro Football. Oh no, that's way too recent. That's 1973.
Kick me the link and I'll
go back and see that into it. Yeah, it's all right. Keep going.
Oh, so then what I was going to say is the wood rail, which is like from a completely different planet, was and kickoff. It had so two on each side, and they basically ran one to the next, kind of that dribble over factor. But each flipper was labeled like cornerback, quarterback, running back, as if that was going to determine what your what kind of shot you were going to be able to make. But in the playfield, down at the bottom, or the lower half of the playfield, there was these three holes that you could shoot and drop the ball into. What we didn't realize right off the bat was you shoot the ball in there, you lose your ball. So yes, you score points, but you also lose the ball. And what somebody pointed out to me is it's kind of like on Woe Nelly. There's a hole in the middle of the playfield there also, and it's the exact same thing. So you're trying to avoid the hole. So not only do you have to worry about outlanes and center drains, but you also have these 3 holes in the middle of the playfield. And that table was an exercise in slow motion death. I literally, there was one part where I literally, for 20 seconds, didn't hit a single target. It was just send the ball up, watch the ball come back to my flippers. Then send the ball up, and I'll watch the ball come back down to my flippers. And then it would do, it'd hit a bumper, and you'd watch it slowly go out the out lane, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Right. Okay. That sounds pretty not fun.
Yeah, I'm mistaking my 2 football tables here. I realized that the pro football was the one that had the 4 flippers. Kickoff had those little tiny zipper flippers, but then it also had the plastic. It was like playing Plinko. So the plastic lanes down at the bottom that, depending on where the ball fell, you would score X amount of points. Just a really bizarre, hard layout. But I'm telling you, man, those tables just were a nightmare to try and figure out what the heck you were doing.
I'm just trying to. Oh, okay. It's actually Williams. If I'm looking at the right, I think so. So let me have a look. The playfield shot's pretty low res on IPDB, but yeah. So it did have 2 red flippers down the bottom, and so like 4 out lanes.
Shoot me, put a link in the comments, and I'll take a quick.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the same thing. It does look rather interesting. I'll tell you that much. Just got to go tab back to the.
So at minute 20 in the podcast, much editing is taking place.
Yeah, there you go. Have a look at that one.
Yep, that's the bastard.
Oh, yeah.
That's kickoff. So you can see there's a hole right next to the blue pop bumper, right next to the red pop bumper, and right dead center. And all 3 of those are death holes.
They're gobble holes, they call them.
They're gobble holes. The only way to get a score happening is to shoot all the way, if you want to call it a loop, all the way on the side. There's a 10,000 point sides and in the centers, just off the centers, if you can stomach aiming for those to avoid the hole, you need to get it up there into the pop bumpers to score more points. Otherwise, you're not really scoring points.
That's insane. How? So the only way after the ball is dribbled down through that center section where all the gobble holes are.
Yes.
The only way you can get it back up there is to try and shoot those really tight-looking left
basically
and right
thread the
loops.
needle. Yes.
Wow, what an unsatisfying pinball machine to play. Like that would drive me insane.
It's you can tell that at this point in pinball design, they were just after your coins.
Totally. It was going, you know what? Let's make this as dangerous as possible. Let's put little tiny flippers on with huge, not even return lines. They're basically 4 lanes that go straight into the out lane arch. Little teeny tiny flippers, and then the only way you can get it back up to where you can actually score points is through these tiny little lanes that would pretty much be impossible to get most of the time anyhow. So,
and then on top of it, if you look at the back glass, this is the kind of scoring where it just puts a light behind a number, and you have to do the addition to figure out what your scoring is. Which we were like, what the heck is that? That's no está bueno. Don't like it.
Oh, look at those racy cheerleaders on the back glass. My goodness.
Right?
You can see their you can see their pantaloons. Wow.
Yeah, they were showing something there. Yeah. So I mean that's and you gotta understand this guy's collection also. It's these machines were player machines at best.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't done playfield restoration on them. And I mean, good luck if he wanted to, because basically have to be a exceedingly good artist and be able to do all the painting yourself. You're not going to find a playfield overlay or a CPR playfield for any of these.
Nope. Wow, that's and so the other one was Pro Pinball, right? Which is a later
Pro Football.
Pro Football, and it was probably a Williams, I'd imagine as well. It seems to a lot of Williams.
No, it's a Gottlieb.
Okay.
And it is from
1931 to. Hang on.
Yeah, that's not the year it is. 1973.
1973.
Yeah, 73.
Yeah. All right, let me have a quick squiz at this so I can know what you're talking about. So the full, so it's a full flipper, strangely aligned flipper playfield with. So in this one, it's interesting because they're both football themed tables.
Yes.
But in this particular one, Pro Football has the actual football player field actually running top to bottom, whereas on the EM it was left to right. And of course, being the way that art is actually laid out means that the whole playfield changes, doesn't it? Because they then have to accommodate the playfield features around that big centerpiece of art.
Yes, and now what you'll notice is on the left and right side, dead center, dead middle of the playfield, you'll see what says touchdown. Those are the very targets that you whack them a couple of times and they keep on going back until they finally drop.
Yep.
Center of the playfield is basically a field goal, spinner. The strength of the flippers on this machine, the ball barely could get past it. And when I say barely, maybe if you were lucky, you would get one spin. If you were extraordinarily lucky, 2 spins would happen. Usually, it would do a half spin and wouldn't even register, and the ball would dribble back down straight down the middle.
So I'm looking at how you would launch the ball into play here.
It launches from the center drain.
Yeah, I see that.
Yes,
so it actually kicks it back out.
Yeah, you push the right flipper and it shoots it out, and basically it goes all the way. It would shoot out hard enough to go all the way up to the right. There's a stand-up yellow target about 3/4 of the way up the playfield. And you'd get some points, and maybe from there it'd hit the slingshot that's right underneath that, and then that would bounce you up into the upper playfield to score some bigger points. But I'm telling you, these tables do not want the ball on the upper playfield.
No,
it's quite annoying.
And I'm trying to see, like, for the upper playfield area, it looks like that the only way to get up there is really through that spinner. So you shoot the spinner, and then theoretically it would shoot into either the left arch or the right arch and go to the left 3 rollovers at the top or the right 3 rollovers. That seems to be how that game is supposed to work.
Yes, if you get a hard enough launch on the flipper.
Yeah, so if the flippers are strong enough, you could theoretically get to the upper area and have some fun. But otherwise, it's pretty much just shoot the very targets and try and score.
And that's why on this was the table that I literally went 20 seconds with the ball just bouncing and not touching anything that scored me a point.
Yep. That sounds about right. That's a brutal game. So the 2 brutal games, both of very different eras, but the EM's out to kill you.
Yeah. But it's still interesting to play these and realize what people were willing to put up with. It's just a whole different thought process to pinball. Back then. The other thing that I found interesting, and I was again talking to some people, and we all kind of came to the same conclusion. So. Terminator 2 was one of the tables that I had to play. And we all commented, why is it that every T2 we play, getting the ball all the way up the ramp is a virtual impossibility? Like, the flippers are never strong enough. I remember when it first came out in playing T2, and it plays very my recollection of it is that it plays very much like what is in Pinball Arcade with strength.
Yeah.
But virtually every T2 I run across now today in the wild or at a private collector's, unless it's been completely fixed
shopped out.
Yeah, shopped out. It just is underpowered.
Yeah, it will be. It's probably because they need to rebuild all the flipper circuits for those flippers. And it could be also because they would have used, they might have tried to replace coils with a different rated flipper coil over the years, and that might have actually affected its ability to shoot the ramps. Because I think of the era of pinball machine, when you did replace flipper coils, you had to be pretty particular about what one you put back in, because it was rated for the playfield objects in the game. So if you find that it could be that of those games that are around, that they might have been fixed up at one point when coils were a bit hard to find, and someone just put a different rated coil in there, and that coil might have been fine for 20 years, so it's still in that game, and it's probably incorrect. So
yeah, I don't know. It might be a symptom of Steve Ritchie games.
Yeah,
because I've also come across with this guy had both Firepower and Firepower 2, and Firepower 2 in particular was just woefully underpowered. There's a steep metal ramp on the left-hand side, not even halfway up the playfield, I don't think, and I could get the ball about 3/4 of the way up the ramp, and then it would roll right back down. That was from a completely still caught ball, which is just doesn't seem right to me.
No, it's yeah. It's strange, eh?
It is. It's interesting, and it's one of those things. Obviously, with owning pinball machines of a certain era, especially with those EMs, good luck making them play. Well, it's. Are you supposed to make them play the way that you expect a pinball to play today, or was that the standard back in the day? And good luck finding anybody that remembers.
Well, it does pose some problems, doesn't it? Because we don't have anyone like you and I who have recently played this era of pinball machines, or like the more recent era of pinball machines. We can't actually go, that's way underpowered. It used to be this, but all the people who used to have a misspent youth playing 50s and 60s pinball machines, they're kind of dead.
Or their memory is so off from what it was back then. I mean, that's many a year ago.
Yeah, the decades cloud your judgment about what you remember of a pinball machine. And you would think, though, that if you can't even reach the flipper, the spinner, and you can see that the design of the playfield is such that you need to get up to that upper level, then that would suggest that some work needs to be done on those flippers.
Yeah. Would suggest it, but
yeah, it'd be interesting to see one that's been completely mechanically shopped out, because the problem with the EMs is that everything is connected through relays.
Yeah.
So unlike with a pinball machine now, if there's something wrong with the flipper, it's probably only 2 places that really needs your attention. But on an EM, it could be up to 8 places that actually need to be fixed. Because it could be a relay right down the relay bank, or it could be an end-of-stroke switch on the cabinet, or it could be a contact switch somewhere else in the playfield. It could be any number of contact points that transfer electricity to the coils. It could be causing that thing not to work properly. So trying to work that out is tricky.
Very much so. All right, enough of that particular bit of fun. You had something pinball related you were going to talk about.
Yeah, I did actually. I would need to go and find the link for it, but it was a Kickstarter for something rather unusual, in the fact that it was like when you were a kid and you wanted to make a pinball machine, so you get out a bit of wood and you'd stick some nails in it, and you sort of make up one that flipped and you could shoot the ball around, maybe put some paper tube ramps on there and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know that.
Rubber band going between a couple of the nails and
yeah, exactly. Well, there's a Kickstarter open at the moment that is basically takes that to a new level, in that they've actually made a proper wood kit that you can buy, with 2 flippers at the bottom that are all connected quite nicely from a mechanical perspective. I know that when I was making a pinball machine, I always have just basically straight bits of wood leading to the outside of the cabinet, and I just have to flip them with the flippers, which means no outlanes or any sort of thing like that. But
I had 2 pencils that I'm just manually flipped.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much like me.
So. This one, like in the days when we were doing it ourselves, this one also uses BB size metal balls. And gee, there's some ruckus out there. I don't know what's going on with the kids. I don't know if you can hear that coming through the mic, but yeah, if you do, sorry, my kids are playing up this morning.
That's okay. It's okay if kids play.
So,
we'll allow that.
Yeah. So this thing basically has it's all look like CNC'd wood and everything, and it's all got metal components in it to make the flippers pretty good quality. But then what it is basically, it's what would you call it? Do you know the wood material you use in your garage to make a pinboard out of for your tools? You have like little horizontal and vertical holes in it. Yeah, pegboard. Well, it's got basically pegboard in there, which allows you to put a basic sort of guides and rails and stuff that come with a kit. But what it also has is it has conductive copper plates that you can put around the playfield as well. And it's kind of genius the way they've actually thought about connecting it. They just use pop rivets stuck through the playfield. So you know the pop rivets that you when you get a pop rivet, it's got like a long tail on it that you stick into the gun, and then you crimp the gun and it cuts it off. Well, what they're doing is they're actually using those as like the conductive pins for the copper. And the idea is that you can connect it up using basically an Arduino or something like that. And you can then make a rudimentary pinball with rudimentary scoring that they will do through a Bluetooth-enabled Arduino and your mobile phone as like the DMD. So we're not talking anything completely rich as far as rules go, but what this kit will allow you to do as a maker is employ other techniques, like you could use cardboard or foam or other stuff to make very different pinball designs, which you can then put rudimentary scoring on. So it's a pretty nice looking like set. I can't find the link to it. I think I actually tweeted it. So
yeah, you did tweet it because I took a look at it from there. It's about $350, I think, to back it.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to find it should be in the tweet list, hopefully. If I scroll back, there's a lot of other stuff, and I'm looking at the BlahCade tweet list. Yeah, here it is. I knew my Twitter foo would come in handy. The project is called Makerball, and yeah, it's a 3-legged pinball machine in the way that
which is odd.
It's a bit odd, but the other thing is you can make it a tabletop as well. And the video is pretty cool. Like they've actually got like one pinball playfield that actually has a planter box in it, and like they use it as like almost like a little mini garden.
It's all eco-friendly.
Yeah, it's all very eco-friendly. So it's a really interesting sort of idea. It's not overly expensive, I don't think. So it's CHF is Canadian, right? CHF is Canadian dollars or something. I don't know. So if you pledge CHF 239, you get a starter kit, a desktop starter kit, and then you also get if you spend a little bit more, like $329, you get the stand-up version of it. And they will ship this anywhere in the world. So, yeah, you can pretty much get this thing and start putting it together and whacking bits of cardboard tube on it and have some fun. So
it is very DIY. There's no doubt about it.
It's totally DIY. Yeah, it's there for you to experiment. I guess it's sort of like a way to if you're interested in maybe building a basic pinball machine, you could actually use this to quickly prototype some obstacles and stuff in it, and just sort of test things out. And it uses little BB balls. So I think they give you about 4 balls in the kit. So you can just you can technically have multi-ball, but some of the designs on the Kickstarter page, they're pretty elaborate. There's some pretty crazy ramps and stuff that people devise. And I think that's the idea with this. The idea is for you to sort of have a go at making crazy designs and then putting them up on this maker community and let other people see them as well. And it's sort of like community-driven pinball development, really. So I kind of like the idea. It's kind of interesting.
And truth be told, it reminds me a lot of the old wood rail that I was playing in terms of the simplicity of what you're doing here. Except for you're not going to have powered pop bumpers or slingshots on this thing.
No, it'll be passive basically. Yeah. But I mean, theoretically, it might be something fun to sort of muck around with. So yeah, check it out. I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you want to check it out. Apparently, according to the backer page, should be ready about Christmas time this year, when they'll start shipping them out. So happy Merry Christmas to you.
Ta-da! Before we close out today, I want to touch upon 2 quick things. Nothing in depth here.
Okay.
Number 1, I haven't had an issue with projection in a theater that much lately, other than the occasional it's slightly blurry. So I went and saw Wonder Woman the other night and wanted to see it in 3D because the one website that I go to that mentions 3D and stuff said it was pretty good. So I was like, okay. So I go there. They hadn't flipped the lens to make it 3D. So what we saw when the movie started was a complete blurred mess. So I had to get up and run out of the theater and go talk to the people that work there, which is my least favorite thing to do, because once I'm settled into my movie seat, I don't want to move. And go out there and I said, hey, your 3D is all jacked up. You need to go correct it. And if you could, start the movie over, because I just missed it. Missed the first couple of minutes because I'm out here talking to you people. So went back in the theater. Boom, they flipped the little lens. It's at that point that I went, boy, it's kind of dim too. It's not a bright, crisp. And for some reason, the 3D wasn't like. Usually, when I watch a 3D movie, you can really sense the depth.
Yeah.
And this, although if you flipped off your glasses, you could see that it was still a blurry mess, which means it should have plenty of depth. There was just something not deep looking about the presentation. And I don't know exactly what the issue was that was going on in the movie theater. Whether it was because it wasn't super bright, but then it wasn't until the credits started rolling that I also noticed that the credits were slightly blurry. So it was a combination of being slightly out of focus, not bright enough, and then me being just annoyed at the way they started the movie to begin with. It was just like, way to kill your enjoyment of
a movie. Like you have one job. You have one job. Make the movie watchable.
It was just really sad, and it just kind of made me go, you know what, unless it's James Cameron or whatever, and maybe I'll pick a different theater to go see 3D. It was just like, I'm better off at home when it comes out in video, watching them that way.
I would have just walked out and said, no, you guys can't organize a beer in a pub at the moment as far as this projection goes. So I'd like my money back now, thanks. I'm leaving.
But I hate doing that too. Again, it's once I'm there.
You got your supersized popcorn and your mega drink.
Oh no, I don't pay for those. You kidding me?
No. Nuts.
No, that doesn't happen. Okay,
that's frustrating.
So anyway, I just wanted to kind of I don't know. That was on my mind. It's annoying. The other thing is, did you hear about this rock climber that just climbed in Yosemite? There's this cliff face, if you will, called El Capitan. And he just climbed it 3,000 feet, no rope, no safety equipment.
Whoa.
Yeah, they call it free solo.
That's pretty ballsy. Yeah.
Took him 4 hours to do.
That's not much.
No.
So he would have been legging it up that bloody cliff.
Right, and I mean it's sheer straight up and down. It's stupid. My family just went to Yosemite last summer, and it's staggering. And to think that somebody was like, "Yep, that's what I'm going to do." So he was the first person to ever do it, and it's a lot of people have said it's the holy grail of free solo climbing to do. So here's my thing: you're an adrenaline junkie, so of course you're doing these things. You just conquered the ultimate of adrenaline junkie things. Oh, and you're only in your mid-20s. You're like 26, 27. Now what?
What do you do now? Yeah, what do you do now?
You know? The interesting thing is that somebody was talking to him and mentioned about adrenaline. He goes, "Oh, no, if you feel that kick of adrenaline, something's gone terribly wrong."
Oh, really?
Because he says you should be climbing these things in complete relaxed calmness. That the minute you feel an adrenaline spike, that means something bad has happened, and you don't want that feeling. And again, it's just like, wow, the mindset that these people have to go through. What I found funny was they were quoting these other renowned climbers that have mentioned. There were two of them that had contemplated doing this exact same feat, and they'd mentioned a couple of other climbers. They're all dead. How do you think they all died?
Falling off a mountain.
It's one guy died from he was climbing over a seawall, and I guess a rogue wave splashed up high and washed him off, and he drowned. Another guy was base jumping and died that way. Yeah, we hear that all the time.
Base jumping is not the most safest of sports.
Right. Another one had died, while climbing. It's like, what is up with a sport that I don't know. I guess I don't have that death wish. I understand doing adrenaline junkie things, but I don't understand the death wish thing. That's how you feel alive, is by conquering death.
It's like, well, yeah, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, I can guarantee you they'd be like, sit there and play pinball for an hour or two? What a waste of life.
Yeah, they really would say that. Or, you go to work every day just to earn a living. What a waste of life when you could be like trying to kill yourself.
It's funny because this guy, and I've heard this about other climbers. He lives in a van. He owns a van. That's where he sleeps. That's where he's got his, hot stove and everything. And basically, he lives on less than $1,000 a month.
Right. Okay.
And to them, the idea is, well, if I feel like driving across the country to this climbing spot, then I drive to that spot in the country and I park and I climb for the next 2 months.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's like, wow. I don't, it's such a different headspace for me.
It is. Yeah. It's a mind frack for sure. Right. Like, it's like, okay, absolutely. Sure. Obviously the guy's single, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's no way you could do that if you had a partner or kids. So yeah.
Oh no, yeah. The minute somebody else's life comes into your mind, then it's game over.
It's game over. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'm an adult. I can do what I want. Basically, is what he's saying. I'm an adult doing adult things.
Which is why I play
adult decisions, life and death. Yeah. That's right. That's about my level of adrenaline. Yeah.
Yeah, boy, my adrenaline spikes when I get multi-ball. Woo, look out.
Yeah. Oh,
boy, I'm scared. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna center drain. No, I've lost one of the funny balls. Ah!
Yep. Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy stuff, ain't you? Yeah.
Hey, we're not getting paid by these guys or anything, but I just wanted to throw out on Twitter. I just posted the 10 shirts I just got for $50. And they're fun shirts. Like the one I'm wearing is it's got a TIE fighter and an X-wing.
Yin yang.
Yin yang, yes. So my style of t-shirts. Anyway, I picked them up from this website called $6 Shirts. And and they don't lie. They're $6 a shirt, but if you bought 10, then they knocked $10 off the price, and all of a sudden it was $50 for 10 shirts, which is bargain.
That's pretty cheap. That's your wardrobe done, basically. That's a real bargain. Do you get to choose them, or is it like
no? You get to choose them. There's over 1,000 shirts to choose from, I think, and you can even pick the color of the T-shirt.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yep. So just wanted to
put a link to them in the show notes,
because I know I've mentioned busted tees before, where I've gotten most of my previous shirts of this nature. So anyway, one of those things that people might be interested in checking out. Like I said, they're not sponsoring us or anything, but
but
it's a good bargain.
That's cheap. We like cheap. We
exactly.
Like cheap.
Exactly. Hey, I think that's about all we got time for today, or at least we don't have anything else to talk about.
No, probably next week. I think things should start heating up a little bit next week for the digital world. So stay tuned.
Hopefully. All right, gang. So until then, go plunk some quarters wherever you can find a place to plunk them. And in the meantime, we'll talk to you all next week. Bye-bye.
See you later.